Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the cilinixfxcapital. I hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video here on Bitcoin. We're going to do a full update. We'll talk about this weekend, which at this point of time seems to be relatively quiet, at least this morning. I mean, there are some altcoins that are doing stuff. So I'll make a video on that as well a little bit later this morning, talking about potential altcoin pumps, but talking about Bitcoin specifically. Yesterday obviously was a pretty volatile day. Had quite a lot of bearish momentum, and that's also why the volume right now is actually still quite high. The volume right now is $27.9 billion. Yesterday it peaked around $35 billion. So in general, I'd say that's pretty good. Even though a lot of that volume was obviously spent pushing the price down, there was also a lot of volume coming in at the CME gap, which is at this point of time still holding support, as you can see. Well, kind of. Not really, but we're still around that CME gap. We're back in that value range that we were in kind of from the 10th of March until the 19th of March. So overall, getting that volume right here is a sign of strength, I'd say. All right. Obviously, we've lost the uptrend here. We already talked about that yesterday in the afternoon. That's I mean, it's mostly fundamentals that pushed Bitcoin down, and in the end. And I've always tried to tell you that in my Bitcoin videos, the fundamentals are king, all right? There was, the majority of the time last week, we actually had some strength coming into Bitcoin specifically as well. If you remember, for example, Wednesday, Thursday, Bitcoin was actually holding up while the S&P 500, I think Thursday, while the US equities were pushing down. But we lost that already on Thursday evening. Thursday evening, the Coinbase Bitcoin price already got into a discount. As you can see right here, yeah, the 27th of March, so that's Thursday. So then Bitcoin lost its own strength, and it just followed U.S. equities, which dropped down, or at least which de-risked a lot because of the fundamental situation. And I still think for next week, so then we're talking about tomorrow evening, into Monday, into Tuesday, and then ultimately into the 2nd of April, of course, on Wednesday, which will be Liberation Day in terms of the import tariffs. Until then, I think the markets will remain in that de-risking state, all right? It's always a bit of a gamble because, I mean, it could also be that at some point of time it will not be de-risked again and that it's all priced in. But what we have seen so far, and we'll talk about the price action this weekend in a moment, but what we've seen so far is that every time that these trade war discussions flared up again, the VIX went up, all right? So the volatility index went up, and the market de-risked, all right? So U.S. equities fell down, and risk on equities such as the Russell 2000, but also Bitcoin suffered the most. So therefore, I think we still have to be cautious for next week. I still think we have to be, expecting the worst for tomorrow evening into the start of next week. But always be prepared to be pleasantly surprised. But that's for now my expectation. I mean, earlier this week, to talk a little bit more about the fundamentals. Earlier this week, we actually did have somewhat of a milder tone, but it seems to me that milder tone has shifted away again. We did have a positive talk between Canada and the US yesterday, so that could be a good sign. We'll see, but we'll talk about that more tomorrow, of course. Talking about the price action right now. Look, there's two things, all right? So first of all, we've dropped back down below our the main key level right here, the previous value area high at 84,600, all right? So we have dropped back down into this range, and like I said, the volume was also quite high, so I think we have to assume that will hold. But then the thing is that we have left quite a lot of imbalances here to the upside. So what I would say, like we have no confirmation of that right now, but I would say the weekend is the ideal time to fill up those imbalances. All right. So I still have a slight hope for a bullish weekend, at least for Bitcoin. But for that, I mean, we would need to break above 84,600. All right. So if we do that today, I think we can fill the imbalances, get up to maybe 86, 85,000. But from there, I mean, if we get a move like that, we will most likely also leave imbalances to the downside. And that would be the ideal catalyst to actually push the price down lower. All right. So I think it's optional depending on the price action today, we will fill the imbalances here to the upside. So this doesn't necessarily have to happen. We need to see a breakout first. But I do think it's most likely that after breaking back down into this value range, I do think it's most likely that this drop will happen. All right, so that we will drop down into 81, into 80,000. And for now, I'd say that's going to hold. But like I said, again, that does depend a lot on the fundamentals. So I'll keep you updated on that. So in terms of my prediction, to summarize, I think this is most likely with a chance, which at this point of time is quite low, but there is a chance that we fill the imbalance here to the upside, get up to the weekly open at 86,000, drop down afterwards. But those are my thoughts. That's what I think you need to know. For now, enjoy your weekend. Like I said, there's not much going on in the markets, but that's it. So thank you for watching. Take care and bye.